Dear viewers, welcome to the latest news of the family Chantel. Please watch the entire video without skipping any part. The group Chantel Everett and Chantel's Pedro Jimeno parted ways, and their trip contained some heartbreaking moments. The elegant The Family Chantel star, who was much in love with Pedro Jimeno, had to endure a great deal of heartache, both before and after their breakup. Although Pedro betrayed her while they were still married, he made a lot of promises and claimed to be her genuine love. He did this in spite of several severe quarrels that would eventually drive them apart. She still clearly loved Pedro even after he's expressed his want to leave. It was undoubtedly the saddest day of Chantel's life when they parted ways. Although there were signs that Pedro and Chantel weren't a good match, they were married for 6 years and enjoyed some good times. That's why it was so upsetting when rumors of their divorce began to circulate. Pedro was branded a villain because he chose to leave. Although partnerships are rarely that clear-cut, in their relationship, he was mostly responsible for the damage. He might have also been abusing his partner. Consider all the restless nights Chantel had after Pedro informed her of his desire for a divorce. It's simple to imagine her crying herself to sleep. Sadly, I imagine that frequently happened. Chantel's heartache is sad because she seems to genuinely think that Pedro was her true love. He took advantage of all of that by referring to Chantel as Pinky Winky, a sweet pet name, and comparing her curvy figure to a guitar. There is more to this fit and appealing man than meets the eye, despite the fact that he seems like a wonderful catch. He cast a charm on Chantel that directed her right towards the rocks. Things became much more tense after Pedro filed for divorce. Chantel started to adapt as she started to accept the circumstances. She was beginning to toughen herself, but she presumably still experienced emotional moments when she heard or saw things that reminded her of Pedro. She might have been motivated by it to empty the couple's joint bank account. Pedro claimed she stole $256,000 from him and left him with nothing. Chantel claimed Pedro was abusive and unfaithful as things became very chaotic. That particular instance demonstrated how seriously awful things were between Pedro and Chantel. By October 2021, each had a restraining order against the other due to the drama's onslaught. These two are totally done, even though their divorce may not be legally finalized just yet. After all of this, there is no chance that things will return to as they were. The bridges are completely destroyed in this divorce, which is known as a scorched earth divorce. Pedro and Chantel's bond was attempted to be broken by Corema Morla. Before Pedro became so messy and aloof in their marriage, there were issues that altered his chemistry with his wife. One problem was Pedro's friendship with Corema Morla, his sister's best friend. Nicole, who likes to cause trouble, made it appear as though Pedro and Corema were participating. She was probably exaggerating for a reason. She hates Chantel, but there might have been some truth to what she was saying. By playing a video of Pedro and Corema dancing, Nicole incited Chantel. That video was preserved on Pedro's sister's phone, and she undoubtedly eagerly anticipated showing it to her then sister-in-law. Naturally, Chantel panicked. There wasn't anything really terrible seen in the video, but there was enough frolicking to cause Pedro and Chantel significant issues. Chantel was criticized by Pedro for failing her nursing exam. This argument was pretty little compared to other disputes between couples, but it still meant a lot. It included a biography of Pedro. Likewise, his objectives for Chantel. She was on the verge of finishing her nursing studies. She had a problem when he failed her last test, though. This thing occurs, but it doesn't necessarily indicate that someone would perform poorly at their work. Some people struggle academically because tests make them anxious. There are several possible causes for why a person does poorly on tests. Whatever the cause, Chantel failed the exam. She returned home in search of solace from her husband. While playing video games on his computer, Pedro spun around in his chair and started lecturing his irate wife. He was only considering himself the entire time. At that crucial time, he appeared to take off his mask and reveal his true self. It was so icy and venal what was underneath. He was concerned that if she failed the exam, it would take longer for her to become a nurse. His own intentions to establish a career in America would be delayed by this. Chantel was obviously horrified by her husband's response. This was only one of many occasions when she had to put aside her own love fantasies and face reality. The only thing that happened was that Pedro severely injured her. She now has the opportunity to experience true happiness as a result, even if it may take her years to fully recover from everything that transpired. There is hope even if she hasn't arrived yet. With Pedro in the past, there was just false hope. Since the tragic events described here played out both off-screen and on-screen, Chantel and Pedro have both changed and developed. Although she frequently appears dejected on social media, she actually has a lot going for her and is attempting to enjoy life as a single lady. Pedro appears to be less depressed than his ex-wife and is embracing his real estate job. He might not have ever experienced any heartbreak at all. Did viewers have any true knowledge of Pedro? Chantel did. These are inquiries that might never have an answer. The fact that Chantel's stars are estranged is perhaps for the best. Pedro might have been able to manage maintaining a friendship with his ex, but Chantel couldn't. Some romances feature a love-hate relationship between two people. For a while, the dynamic might work, but as soon as the loved partner isn't getting what they want, the surface fissures will widen, resulting in a chasm that neither half can cross. If you like the video, like, comment, subscribe, share, and stay with us. Your likes will encourage us to make next videos. Thank you.